In the beginning, I used to create my own covers. It was such a long process then. I begrudged paying a designer, to do my own covers. I discovered a bit of an ingenious way of doing it. It was quite long-winded. But I used to open in a word processor a blank document, and then I would put pictures in where it was raw. There was no rights. They were free to use. No legal obligation with them. And I'd put my text up and do it in the word processor. Then I'd load up the print preview, and then what I would do is use the clipping tool that comes with the Windows software on your computer, and I'd copy the work I'd done, and then make it the right size and upload it. But it wasn't bad. This cover in particular wasn't bad. I mean, this book went on to sell really, really well. It's one of my top selling books for quite some time, over 2 years. And though I say it myself, not bad for an amateur designer at the time. Anyway, I've improved since then. But that's how I used to do it. But then later on, I started to follow the advice. I thought, it's right. If you want your book to do well, it's got to look professional, and you need to get somebody who knows what they're doing, a professional designer, to do it. So you got to pay someone. So I listened to that. And I couldn't afford really expensive designers, so I went on Fiverr.com, and on there, of course, you can get a nice cover designed. And for the most part, all my covers were designed, and they did look really good. In fact, quite a few people used to comment on them. Here's some of them. I'll show you some now. Here's one. It's called the Resume Writing Formula, and I'll just show you another one. This is a book called Minimalism, Easy Declutter Solution. And here's another one, the Easy Declutter and Organize Plan that works. So I was sort of, doing books around cleaning, declutter, because my cleaning book did so well. I decided to do others. They didn't do as well, but as my cleaning book. But you'll notice something about these. And I noticed it's changed a little bit now, but I noticed at the time a lot of the covers that were getting designed by designers, especially on Fiverr, the sort I used to get coming back, were tended to be an image, either a full image background like this, or it would certainly have a large part of the background was actually an image. And I thought, what really got me though was one of my books. The cover came back, and as I was looking around Amazon, I noticed another cover. It was not exactly identical, but it was the same image, background image, but it was just flipped the other way. So obviously this person had also had his book designed by one of these designers, and all they did was use the same picture and flicked it around the other way, but it looked almost identical to my book. And I thought, this isn't really that good. So I decided to run off and start looking at professional designs, sort of looking at the top selling books, the paperbacks, New York Times bestsellers and things like that. Here's one such very, very famous book. I'm sure you are very familiar with this, Jurassic Park. Now, if you notice on this cover, there is an image, but it's just a silhouette, and the rest of it's just text. Very simple, clean, and straightforward. And I started noticing that a lot of the best-selling books were this. They'd have an image, a small image inserted in, and the rest was text. So, this is not long ago I discovered this, and I created this book cover myself when I got a bit more good with creating book covers. So I've improved even more since then, and I'm going to teach you all that in this course. But I created this one, and it still always tends to be in the 100 top bestsellers of its category, and it was page 1 and for quite a while as well. It still sells quite well. The title, of course, is on there, but the only image in here is just a small one here of a book on its end, and this cover looks really professional and clean. Maybe the text could be a little bit more sharper now if I redid it again now, but it does quite well. The thing is, you don't even need an image, and this is something else I noticed in top books, just like this one. And this is a really good book, by the way, by Robert McKee, called Story. But just look at the cover. It's not the book I'm trying to draw your attention to here. It's the cover design. It's all text. There's no images in it. but it looks very professional. It's attractive, nice colours and everything else, and this book sells very, very well indeed. I started to notice that was a trend. So the difference I was noticing between the self-published books, the ones that tend to be on Kindle, and the ones who are from top publishers like this book, Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence book, was another example of a cover without an image on the front. That sells very well. All these top books tended to not even have an image. So when I did that cover on Writing Steps, something dramatic happened, because it didn't have that cover originally. It had a usual graphic design cover. Can't remember what it was even now. But as soon as I changed it to the one I showed you with the cover on, the sales really picked up, and it started becoming very successful from that moment on. So changing your cover design really does make all the difference. So what the lesson I'm trying to get you across to you here is, make your book different from, if your category where your books is, like the cooking category we looked at, it's got all images on the front, make them different. Remember those two books in the cooking category we looked at? Those two books that were doing very well indeed had images on, but very minimal. In fact, one of them didn't have an image at all, it was just text, and that was the one that did better than the other one. So that's why I get across. Try to think about not using full image backgrounds. Nothing wrong with using that, but they tend to be more in fiction books than non-fiction. Try to go with this sort of layout. You don't even need graphics at all, but of course do make sure that it looks professional, like this one here. It's really eye-catching the way story is embossed and stands out and so on. Now I'm going to show you how to do that for free.